Well, one of the good things is, yes, we have Steve Wright coming on. So, Steve, welcome. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Hey, Steve, how are you?
I'm doing well, Sergio. How are you today?
I'm doing very, very well. Very happy to have you here because I think it's really, really timely that we'll keep introducing our audience new players in the market in the rideshare space, right? And look, we're not going to lie about it. We put out videos. Pretty much 95% of the comments are negative, right? And they're not happy. Drivers are not happy. And a better way to put more tools in the driver's toolbox. As far as I'm concerned, Rides is definitely a company that we should be discussing, and that's why you're here. So with all that said, please introduce yourself, what you did before actually getting into Rides or creating Rides, and what Rides is.
Yeah, like you said, I'm Steve Wright, founder and CEO of Rides. We quite a few years ago took note of all the improprieties going on in the rideshare business. We'd been in medical equipment for 27 years and sold that company. And instead of retiring, we decided, hey, let's find a new calling, a new something we can do to help the world out a little bit. And looking at all the things that were going on in the rideshare, drivers being disrespected and underpaid and just the whole issues that everybody knows are going on in the rideshare business. So it really got our interest peaked. So we began this company right outside of Austin, Texas, and we were just going to be a little mom and pop over here doing our thing, and it started growing and being requested to go other places, and we're getting requests around the world, but we definitely are not interested in leaving the United States by any means with this yet, but it has grown, and it is we're just really truly here for the drivers and the passengers. We've already been what I feel successful in our careers and everything. And so we're not really in this to try to become bazillionaires. In fact, I don't even take a paycheck from the company yet. Someday I will, someday I do have to work on that retirement again a little bit, but right now I don't even take a paycheck from the company. So we really do. We listen to the drivers, we listen to the passengers. I structured a lot of the safety things in the company as if my daughters or my wife were getting in the car. What would be the minimum requirements I would want to see companies do if my family are getting in the car? And so that's kind of how we worked on the passenger side and the safety issues. And then from the driver side, I can relate. I mean, I understand some drivers, the situation they're in. They're driving to pay the electric bill this week, or they're driving for formula and diapers. And I can relate to that. I certainly understand how that is. So I put myself in the driver's shoes as well. And I think what do they deserve? They deserve respect, and they deserve to make the money that they earn. So
so let's spread this out a little bit, right? So I want you're in my city. I heard about Rides. I'm a driver on Uber and Lyft and maybe other platforms. Tell me, how do I get on Rides as a driver?
It's very simple to start the process. They can go to rides.com and choose sign up to drive. Okay, then there's a process. It includes the background check and the typical stuff, setting up their payment accounts and all that stuff. And then the last and final step is a face-to-face meeting with us. We meet every driver face-to-face.
So there is a face-to-face interview process. On the background check, who pays for the background check? Do you guys pay for it, or the driver does?
We're having the drivers pay for it. We were paid for it up front, but we decided the best of the best drivers who are truly independent contractors, who truly want to create their own business in their vehicle, don't mind investing, having a dog in the hunt. They don't mind putting a little bit of money into this because they know they're going to get it back many, many times over. So right now, the drivers pay for their background check. The final step is they do the face-to-face interview, at which point we confirm all the documentation in person, make sure the face matches the driver's license and all that stuff, insurance and everything. And then we do a drug screening. Drug screening that checks for all the big stuff, PCP and barbiturates and methamphetamines and stuff. And on that note, I know our systems work, and there have been quite a few people who have come in for this process and have not been able to pass the drug test, which is very concerning because they could be driving for other services or whatever. So I know that the process is working. It's doing the job that we intended to do. Right. When they leave that interview, they are signed up. As long as everything goes well, they're signed up and ready to go out and do rides that exact minute as soon as they walk out the door.
So right off the bat, I can see the difference in a watered-down background check by Checker that's run by Uber, Lyft, Doordash, many other gig companies versus yours, right? Yep. So there is a drug test. So yes. and I think all of them should do it, but obviously at their scale, if they do it, they will not have any drivers left on the platform probably. So, that is what it is. So that part we got. Now, I'm a passenger now. How do I hear about rides? And I heard about rides, let's say, and how do I get on the platform and how do I order my trip?
Sure. Same thing as any other thing. We do the social media marketing and all the different things that you might see, any kind of advertising that you might see. Maybe not to the extent that the larger companies are able to do, but we're putting the word out, as well as drivers. Drivers need to market themselves because they are independent contractors. And guess what? They get to keep the money they earn. So why not market yourself? I liken this to if I hire a carpenter to come to my house and he decides to tell my neighbor about his services, I can't tell him, you can't do that, you're working for me. No, he's an independent contractor. Market yourself. So we tell the drivers, market yourself, and they can actually collect their own clientele of people because we have direct driver requests. So once they get somebody who's a preferred passenger, that passenger can request them time and time again, and it's a good situation because the passenger likes the driver likes the passenger. So back to the passenger side. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so we always say on Show Me the Money, like treat this like you are.
Oh, it looks like Sergio just got kicked off. Where he was going with that comment is treat your business, like treat it as you are a small business owner. I'm assuming that's what you were about to say, though, Sergio.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was about to say, and then my internet conked out, but it's good.
Well, and I agree 100%. It is their business. I've been self-employed my whole life. I've had many companies, other businesses and stuff, and I treat every driver like this is their company. They're the CEO in their car. As far as I'm concerned, that is their car. They treat that like their business. They treat that passenger like their customer. We make nothing from the passenger, not a penny, not a red cent we make from the passenger. That is their customer. So the best thing for them to do is make sure that passenger wants them again and again and again because they build their clientele. So it is their business. That car is their business. That's their office or whatever you want to call it. And they have to treat it as such. So.
Okay. So now that we cleared that up, obviously, whatever city you're in, you have to be TNC licensed. Am I correct? Assuming that?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. So you have the legalities out of the way, TNC licensed. As we know, as I know, and a lot of our viewers know from their receipts, they receive from Uber and Lyft, and I listen to their earning conference calls. The biggest complaint that they have, especially in California, has been commercial insurance rates. Let's talk a little bit about that. As you know, the competitors, Uber and Lyft, there are 3 periods, obviously, period 1, period 2, period 3. They offer some sort of coverage to the driver, with the strongest coverage being when there is a passenger in the backseat, right, in the car. So who pays for the commercial insurance? Is there commercial insurance during rides, trips, and then, what the coverage is like?
Yes, we also provide the same insurance that any other rideshare would. We meet or exceed all state requirements. So first off, we are licensed in every state we're in. In every airport that we actually service, we're licensed with those. And we do provide the same commercial insurance, and it meets or exceeds the state requirements for period 1, period 2, and period 3. We cover that on our side. There's a small insurance per mile fee that is being paid by the passenger. Once again, we keep nothing from that. There's no markup. That goes straight to our hub insurance, which is our insurance provider. And so that is actually paid through there. So we're making sure that that's in place and every trip is covered on the insurance.
Okay. So we're taking care of all the normal stuff. So now let's say, as we know, rideshare in our worlds has been and is so far a two-sided marketplace with these giants in between playing agent, right? So in a two-sided marketplace, they have to charge as much as they can, which is dynamic, right? They could fluctuate wildly. While I was going to let's say, football game, my trip would be 30, but on the way out, it could be 130, right? It's like there is no rhyme or reason. There is some algorithm deciding for the passenger what they're going to pay and for the driver what they're going to receive. Yes. And the difference in between is called the take rate, which they can fluctuate wildly, right? So talk to me a little bit about that part of it. Is there surge on the system? Is there chances for drivers to make more money? Because surge is our bread and butter. If it's surging, obviously we're going to make more money because the passenger is going to be charged more money. Who decides on who to charge what?
Mhm. So we have our regular rates, our per mile per minute, the base fare and booking fee. Drivers get all of that. There's no smoke and mirrors in there. We're not keeping any of that. Okay. But we didn't do the surge. We did something called perk instead. And basically stands for passenger enabled ride kickstart is what the name of it is. And what that is in a high demand situation, for instance, somebody goes out to the F1 track here in Austin. Literally, this is a true story. $40 to get there, $120 to get home. Well, they're hostage. What are you going to do? Walk? It's 20 miles outside of town. What are you going to do? Walk? No, you can't. You have to pay what they request otherwise. So on ours, the passenger can actually put the perk in there. They can say, well, I don't want to pay $80 surge price, but you know what? I'll give my driver an extra 30 or 40 bucks because the driver gets 100% of it. So they know in a high demand area, add that perk. Now that the rides driver will get them, and actually the driver makes more and they save money. So either way, we're actually working on some things to make notifications available in high demand areas where passengers are notified, hey, you're in a high demand area. We will never put this on the price, but we recommend you might consider it because people do chase the surge prices with other companies and everything like that. So we want passengers to know there's an option. You don't have to pay that surge price. Add a little extra for your driver on this one. They'll be happy to take care of you.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea actually. And is there tipping allowed on your system?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, and obviously the driver gets 100% of the tips, right?
100%. We don't touch anything from that. And another thing is that perk can be used during a trip. So, the infamous, can you run me through Taco Bell? I'll pay you on the tip. And then it never happens. They sprint out of the car. The driver can say, hey, yeah, add $3 on perk. It immediately notifies the driver. Your passenger's added a perk. It shows it on the total. It can't be taken back. They go through Taco Bell. Everybody's happy. So
okay, so you mentioned to me that you've not been taking any money out. So far, I'm trying to figure out how Rides is going to make money, right? Because you're not taking any money from the passenger, you're not taking any money from the driver. So I'm kind of going like, okay, this is like you know what they say in our world, too good to be true. It's probably so, right? Yep. So now let's get to the little bit nitty gritty of the parts of Rides, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so the driver you consider as their own small business, right? They can do all the publicizing, they can do all the marketing themselves if they wanted to, right? But what do they pay for the service? Is this another one of those subscription-based services? Obviously, there's no commission that you're taking, right? So as the company in between, you providing the app, there's a cost to run that. I mean, you're not going to do it because you're such a wonderful person, which I know you are, but nothing is free in this world. So let's talk a little bit about the cost to the driver.
Sure. Yeah, we set this up. This is one of those 3:00 in the morning aha moments. How can we be different? I don't want to be the other companies. I want to be an alternative. I want to be something different. And we originally started this out where we would do that. And we would try to take 15 or 20 or whatever the percentage is to make the money. Like I said, the passenger pays the bills. They're paying. If there's an airport fee, the passenger paid that. Driver gets everything else, that can be given away. If the government didn't get it, the driver did. Okay. So what we do is we do a subscription model. Right now, in most of the markets we're in, we're not even charging that. We're letting drivers kind of build some clientele. We're doing it for free, letting them do it, and then we'll ease into it. The average market is going to be about $100 a month when we get to the full subscription level, which we're not there yet. Some markets we're doing first month free, second month 25, third 50, fourth month 75, and then the fifth month would be the $100. That gives them plenty of time to ramp up. And I joke with drivers when we're onboarding them, if in 30 days you can't get $25 where the passengers want you again, you might want to consider a different profession. It's very successful for the drivers who get that how can I get you again question. This is 100% in their wheelhouse, and they can hand a passenger card that has their QR code on it or their driver ID. And they say, next time you need a trip, put in your information, scan this code or enter my ID in, hit request. I'm going to be on my way. So that subscription is how we're going to make money. And like I said, we're not out to make bazillions off this thing. We're out to help the industry, help people. We've committed our whole life to actually helping people. We did hospice the last 10 years of our medical equipment. That's not something you do for money. That's something you do because it's a calling. And same with this. We want to help the drivers. Now, don't get me wrong. When we have many, many drivers, we will obviously make money. We'll find other ways to give that money back to the community or back to drivers or whatever we need to do. But yeah, so right now it's a subscription base. 100 is going to be what most of them will be when it gets to the top position. And that's all it's going to be.
Okay. So for $100 a month or 99, as you said, the driver gets the tools, which is the app, obviously. Now I asked this question to all the CEOs who are in the space or trying to get into the space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look, we know at the moment the dissatisfaction rate with all the drivers on rideshare platforms such as Uber and Lyft is extremely, extremely high. I mean, look, we have upfront fares now, which nobody understands. Truly, nobody understands.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about shaving this, shaving that, the shady stuff that they pull, the glitches that kind of show up out of the blue, which no reason for a technology company to have that many glitches on a daily basis, right?
Sure.
So for me, the important thing is I can get you all the drivers overnight because they are so unhappy. And look, there's another app in their toolbox, and they can make some money while they may be working for Uber and Lyft, but they also have the Rides app on, and then do some trips for rides as well. So the problem has always been for the newcomers, and I'm going to consider you a newcomer with this this project that you have, is getting the passengers, getting the acquisition of the passenger is so expensive, and that's why these companies had billions and billions and billions of dollars to spend when they started, because they literally offered trips for free to get everybody on the platform and then hook them. And then now we know what's happening to their rates, right? So what are you going to do as a company? I understand as a driver, you can do your own marketing and do whatever you need to do as a small business, but what is the company going to do as far as consumer or passenger acquisition to help these drivers to stay busy and to stay on your platform?
Sure, and that's a very valid question. We will be doing marketing as well. Especially a lot of social media marketing, target marketing around events and things like that to try to get the name out. We're starting to hear more and more. In fact, it's kind of ironic that I've onboarded quite a few drivers recently here in Austin. I asked them, "How did you hear about rides?" And they say their passengers told them from the other companies, which is a good sign. That means the passenger saying, "Look, I had a good experience with rides, and I would like to see you be on rides as well." So passengers are starting to tell drivers about rides. So it is truly a grassroots effort. Like I said, we're giving the drivers all the tools and the toolbox they need to actually use this and create their own business. And we're asking them to meet us halfway. In other words, all of the businesses I've ever been in, nobody for under $100 a month, which would be their background check and their onboarding fee, which they get lighted signs for the windshield and all that stuff. Usually it's about $55 for those two things for the driver. Nowhere ever have I been able to get in business for $55 ever. It's just unheard of. And then, like I said, we're carrying the insurance, we're doing the heavy lifting on our side. So it's a mutual thing. We will be marketing, we will be doing our part to actually get those. I call them the magic rideshare fairy that goes over the car and sprinkles trip requests on them. Those will start happening the more we become known. But in the beginning, drivers set goals. They say, okay, I need to have 4 passengers this week that will be reoccurring passengers, and I know that covers my subscription right there. I'm covered. Everything from that point on is gravy. So treating it like a business and treating them like a businessman, and then giving them the tools and teaching them how to market themselves and actually promote themselves to be successful, because we're with them. We're actually with them the whole way. I think we've seen a lot of good success in the market already.
Okay, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what Uber and Lyft do when there is some sort of legislation or some sort of city ordinance that's happening. The first thing that they do is they go, well, we're going to leave, right? Because it's going to be unaffordable for everybody. Everybody's going to lose their flexibility and freedom and all that good stuff. So they were able to defeat a couple of ordinances and state bills in the state of Minneapolis and state of Minnesota and city of Minneapolis by the mayor and the governor vetoing these bills, right? So there is one coming up in Chicago. In fact, I'm going to have a bunch of people next week on Chicago to explain us what the city ordinance that is on the table in the city council of Chicago with a bunch of elder women and men. So are you in the city of Chicago?
Yes, we are.
Okay. How big is your operation? And like, how many trips are you doing? How many drivers do you have?
Yeah, it's ramping up. We've got like quite a few drivers up there, and it's starting to ramp up and everything. So we do work with different organizations right there. So if somebody was to leave the city, we could be in a position right now to pick up the slack and actually hardly miss a beat as far as people getting around the town and stuff. So
so this will be the first city that actually there's an alternative if Uber and Lyft leave.
Yes. And actually, on that point, I'll give you this. In Austin, Texas, where I live, that's exactly what gave me one of the things that gave me the idea of doing this, because the big people left because they didn't want to do some of the background checks and stuff. And I'm going, wait a minute, if my daughter's in that car, I want this stuff done. Well, of course, by the time we got our first version of the program written, there was 10 companies in, and you know the story. They went through the state, got everything taken away from the cities, and now everybody's back where they want to be. But cities shouldn't be afraid. They should not be afraid and think, oh, we won't have transportation in our city or whatever. There's enough smaller companies like ours, and there's some others that I've seen on your program that would be more than willing to step in and do what's right for the passengers and the drivers. So I don't think that should be a problem.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about where you are at the moment, right? And what cities you're in and what states, and we'll talk at the end about expansion plans, obviously, because no rideshare company should always have an expansion plan. So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Right now in Texas, we're in Austin, San Antonio, Lubbock, Amarillo, Corpus Christi, and Waco. We're live in those regions, already have drivers in place and doing trips there. So we're about to move into Dallas, and that'll be on the list I tell you in a minute of our expansion. Arizona, we're already live in Phoenix. And of course, we're doing airports in these cities as well. South Dakota, Rapid City, we're there. Illinois, Chicago. Indiana, we're in South Bend, Indiana, and we've got some expansion plans there coming up very shortly. In Ohio, we're in Cincinnati and Columbus. North Carolina, already live in Raleigh. South Carolina, we're showing great success in Myrtle Beach, Columbia, and Charleston. And then in Georgia, we're in Atlanta already. So those are the cities and the states that we're in right now, 17 cities. And of course, some of those cities have 200 actual towns within the city, like Chicago. So yeah, it's a pretty vast coverage so far.
Okay. So besides the cities, obviously, what we need to look forward to, obviously, according to the success of the company, right? Expansion plans. Are you thinking of, look, I mean, the chat's flying, right? Everybody's asking, are you coming here? Are you coming here? Are you coming? Okay. So how would the drivers who are interested in rides, how would they get in touch with you or whoever in the company? So, actually we'll put that in the show notes. So, whoever's interested.
Yeah, they can actually go to our website, and don't judge. We're working on that webpage. It's functional. And it's not pretty, but they can go there and create a ticket. And actually those tickets that have to do with expansion come directly to me. I answer their ticket of when am I coming to New Jersey or when am I coming to Hawaii? Well, I'd like Hawaii sooner rather than later, but I'm the one who answers those tickets. So right now, the cities that are imminent, we're already working on permits for are Las Vegas, which that's quite a process, but we're about halfway through the process. Tampa, Florida, of course, Dallas and Fort Worth are like very, very shortly happening. We're already in the work with the airports there on permitting. Boise, Idaho, Madison, Wisconsin, Lafayette, Lake Charles, and Baton Rouge, Louisiana are imminent. All these should happen within the next 8 to 12 weeks. Greenville, South Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, and then Cleveland, Ohio. Those are all ones that we're actively working on as we speak. That we by all practical purposes, we should be in by the end of the year at the very latest.
Okay, so you're growing, right, at your pace, obviously, because I think you're doing the right thing, right? Growth at any cost, I think, is completely incorrect as far as I'm concerned. Unless you have a few billion laying around, Steve. You have a few billion laying around?
You know what? I wished I did, but this is another note. We are a debt-free company. We haven't raised any capital, and I know that may be a bad thing. It may be a good thing, but I know that debt can get companies into trouble. And when it comes time to show profits, it can be like, well, we would have had profit, but we had to pay the bank or whoever. We're virtually a debt-free company. We're funding this ourselves in our way and doing what we need to do and stuff. So I think as things progress and grow and everything without having any debt behind us to service, I think we can be very successful.
Okay, so in the remaining couple of minutes, I'm going to give you the floor and, talk to our audience. I mean, look, we have a massive audience in pretty much every top 20 city where Uber and Lyft, are giants, right? And look, we want to introduce to our audience companies like yourselves. Like a couple of weeks ago with InDrive, and there was like a huge outcry for InDrive. Why are you coming here? Are you coming here? Because people are just fed up with the games and the gamification, gamblification, all this carrot and stick games we'll have to go through to make some money, right?
Yep.
And without a chance actually to become a true independent contractor that build our own business, because we have no control other than turning the app on or off whenever we want. We have no control, and that doesn't make me an independent contractor.
No, it does not.
And I'll give you a couple of minutes. Talk to our audience, and then who's watching now, and then in thousands they're going to watch probably on replay.
Sure, absolutely. The first thing I'd like to tell any driver out there is we listen to drivers. I have a group in Austin. I take to breakfast, once or twice a month, and it's just a group of drivers. And we sit down and we brainstorm and we talk about marketing strategies and what can I do to make this app better. We listen to drivers. I have over 1,000 drivers that have my personal phone number right now as we speak. And I talk to them literally. I realize that drivers are driving at 3:30 in the morning because I'm getting texts from them. Okay. So we listen to the drivers. This app will never be done because as long as drivers have ideas and ways we can make it better, we're going to continue to make it better. We're truly here for the drivers. And as long as we keep improving, we will be successful and move forward. So don't be afraid to look at rides as a third option. We're not trying to replace anybody by any means, but it is another option to do rideshare, which you will make in most cases considerably more doing a rides trip than you would on some of the other platforms. Because like I said, we are not taking anything from that trip. If the airport didn't get it or the insurance didn't get it, then you get it. And so it does make a lot of difference on what you make on that. So feel free to go to rides.com or download the app and create a ticket, send in the tickets. And I'll be happy to tell you when we're slated to come to your city, if it's already on the radar. And if it's not, it may be one that we want to put on the radar soon so we can get to your area.
Well, I'm glad you showed up today. I think it couldn't be more timely actually, because I wanted to have you on for a while. I've spoken to you about a year ago, first time. And I think what you're doing is offering everybody, the passenger and the driver, another choice. And there is nothing wrong but an additional choice as far as if you're driving 40, 50, 60 hours a week, you guys got to look at rides. I mean, there's another alternative. You will most likely make more money, and they're not competing with Uber and Lyft. They're just allowing you to create your own small business. So to me, other than that, Steve, much appreciated. Thank you so much. I know we're going to keep in touch. I know we'll always do. So thank you again for showing up. All the best of luck, and we will keep updates, right? We'll do updates every few months. We'll bring you on and give us the updates.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Sergio.
All right, have a good rest of your day.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks for watching. That short little clip was from our live stream, Show Me the Money Club with Sergio and myself, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you subscribe, turn on all notifications so you'll be notified when we go live, as well as all of our awesome content. Make sure to check out this video right here, which will take you to the entire live stream, or check out this video right there. All right, drive smart, everyone.